Welcome back, everyone, to Recruiting Thursday here on the Westmoreland Sports Network. Jack Ridenour here with you all today, and we are now joined by current three-sport athlete for the Southmoreland Scotties and recent Gannon University women's basketball commit, Olivia Cernuto. Olivia, great to get you on the show today. First off, congrats on your recent commitment. How does it feel to make this decision?
Thank you. It's kind of like a weight lifted off my shoulders going into my senior year and finally be committed and not have to worry about it so much.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. I've had a lot of other people that have come on the show discuss that same reasoning behind committing before your senior year, kind of getting that out of the way and, like you said, having that weight lifted off your shoulder. But I want to hear, why did you decide on Gannon? What drew you to their program?
The coaching staff is amazing. Just getting to know them and seeing them in both the coaching aspect and just getting to know them personally, it really drew me in. And then once I got to go up to their camp and meet their players, I just feel like I fit in well with them, and it's felt like home.
What was the whole recruiting process like for you? I'm sure that you probably had a little bit of a hiccup along the way with COVID, obviously, earlier on in your recruitment process, but what was just the recruitment process as a whole like for you?
It was difficult because I was obviously torn between my different sports. So soccer was kind of harder to get recruited because I didn't do cup. But I did do AAU basketball, so it was easier for me to get myself out there for basketball. But then coaches wanted me to pick one sport, and I was still up in the air between the two. So, the recruitment process was a little bit tougher for me, but ultimately I ended up with a great decision, and I couldn't be happier.
I think that's the most important thing is being very comfortable and happy with that decision. And I know that you do play many, many sports, and I want to hear, when did you start playing all of these sports? When did you start playing basketball, soccer? When did you start doing track and field? When did this all start for you?
Soccer, I started playing when I was 3. I started in tiny kickers. Basketball, I think I started in 2nd grade. I played with the seniors that just graduated. I started playing with them when they were in 3rd grade. And then track, I didn't start track till middle school.
So in terms of being able to play with your teammates for that long, especially on the basketball end, how much do you think that's helped with just team chemistry, and just in the past few years, has that helped with the dynamic on the court with you guys?
It's really helped. We always had that great chemistry. We all got along. Even if we got mad at each other over something during the game, we still had that connection, and it didn't really bother us. Even going into my freshman year, my mom was always coaching the older girls too, so I'd always go to the practice, and I had that connection with them too. So it's always helped, and we've never had bad team chemistry throughout my years.
And that's such a great thing to have, is no bad team chemistry, right? That's something where I think that is one of the biggest secret ingredients to a lot of success on the basketball court, the soccer field, wherever it might be. I know we've talked a lot about basketball, but you're in the middle of soccer season right now. I know that you are closing in on your 100 career goals. You just had a big performance this past weekend against Connellsville with 6 goals. How's the season been so far for you and your team?
Honestly, for me, this season is my last hurrah. So I'm going to give it all I got and just not miss anything about it and end the season on a high. So I think as a team, we're just really working on our chemistry and more focusing on what we need to do when playing other teams and really what they do, because ultimately if we do what we need to do, we'll end up on the right end.
How much has soccer and track and field, both of those sports, and really kind of complementing those sports with basketball, how much have they helped you with basketball and just the conditioning part of it, the training part of it, and the movement part of it? How much have the other two sports helped out with basketball?
I think the other two sports have really helped me with strength and conditioning, both because I'm using all different muscles and movements in each sport. Soccer, it helps with my longer running distances because it's a constant moving game. Track, I have those shorter sprints and the jumping. So they all tie in and play a big role in one another, just for me to be ready for each one.
Now, do you ever find it hard to go from one sport to the next? I mean, that's, obviously a lot of wear and tear on the body, and then you're going from soccer to basketball to track and field. They're different types of conditioning, even though they're all still running predominant sports. But have you ever found it hard going from one sport to the next?
Yeah, I always try to take as much break in between the next season as I can, whether that be like a couple days to a week, just like depending on like where we finish. So I do try to get a little bit of a break, but honestly, just trying to take care of my body throughout the season. That's the best thing I can do. And then probably because I've done it for so long, I'm kind of used to the different wears and tears on my body and like figuring out how to go about it.
So with you playing all these different sports, I'm sure you've had to learn a couple methods and just kind of practices to keep yourself, like you said, healthy and take care of your body. What have you been doing, or what do you usually do to try and keep yourself healthy and at tip-top shape during the seasons?
I have, so last year when I hurt my knee, I have stretches. So I always do those stretches before my practice just to keep my legs strengthened and all that. So just like little things like that. And whether it be icing or using heat. I normally go to the chiropractor just to like stretch out my hamstrings and lower back and stuff like that. So just small things.
Well, I think that the stretching is so important. Athletes, I think, miss that by a mile when they neglect to do that or they refuse to do that. I've seen a lot of athletes, crumble, if you will, because they don't want to stretch, and they're wondering why they're starting to cramp very early on in the game. But I know that, again, you're a multi-sport athlete, but you're only playing basketball at the collegiate level. Did you ever consider, and I know that you kind of mentioned it earlier on, but it seemed that you kind of wavered back and forth between soccer and basketball. I mean, how much had you considered playing two sports in college?
I never really considered playing two sports because when I go to college, I'm worried about my academics and what I'm going to do in the long run. So I feel like two sports would be just way too much for me to handle. And it would still like give me like a hurting on my body. So I kind of wanted to take a step back and just focus on that one.
Yeah, playing multiple sports in college is so hard. And to your point about the academic aspect of it, having to kind of balance your time and be very good with the time managing, that's not the easiest thing either. That's another kind of secret ingredient to being a successful student athlete. But getting back into basketball, I know we've bounced back and forth between hoops and soccer, but going into basketball season last year, a very memorable one for you and your team, capturing the section title. What did that mean for you? What did that mean for the program and just the entire team as a whole?
I think for the program, it's really giving us like a step up and showing like we have the potential to do good things. We just have to keep putting the work in, and we need the help from the younger girls to step up and really put in the work in and want to do like what we have done in the past. So I think that mindset is being like preached down to the younger girls, and they're coming out to the games and they're seeing everything. So I think that is really going to help step up our program. For a team, it was really exciting for all of us just to capture another section title and just to make it back to the semifinals. Yeah, we were disappointed with the outcome at the semifinals, but we still played so well up to that point. And we know like we have bad games and like things like that happen. So like it hurt for a little bit, but then we just got right back into it and just kept working.
Well, I think it's that you guys, and it's very important that you guys know kind of the potential that you guys have, what you guys are capable of doing as players and as a team. Also wonderful that they've got a great leader in you coming back, but also a very familiar face of the program is in your mom, who's the head coach of the team. I got to hear what that's like, the mother-daughter, coach-player dynamic. How does that kind of work out?
Sometimes we butt heads, but ultimately she's my coach and I have to listen to her. We're able to like pitch ideas back and forth to each other, which is helpful. So I kind of like see where her head is at, but she's a familiar face. She's coached us since we were younger. She's coached all the girls in different grades. So everyone's used to her. And I think that ultimately helps because like when you step into high school, you don't have to like worry about like what the coach is like because everyone's accustomed to her coaching style. So that really helps for everyone.
Now, how do you two separate the basketball life to the personal life? I know that you said you guys sometimes butt heads. So let's say there's a practice, mom's not happy with what you did. How do you guys kind of leave that on the court and not take that home with you?
It's kind of like once we hit the car, basketball is like the coaching and the player is just non-existent anymore. It's just like mom and daughter. So we try to like leave that on the court. Sometimes like when I get home, I'll get like a talk like as a parent, but never really the coaching and comes home, and like it's never that hard at home.
Well, I think it's great that you guys can kind of, separate those two lives. And I've seen many instances where father, son, mother, daughter, whatever it might be, they have a hard time doing that. And so I think it's great that you guys are able to do that. But Olivia, you've been great to get on the show today. Thanks so much. Before we let you go, just want to hear from you. What are you most excited for heading into your final year of high school and your senior year of high school?
I think I'm most excited for just to be able to play my last year with a great group of girls all around, soccer, basketball, and the people at track. So I'm just really looking forward to keeping more memories with all of them, and ultimately just doing the best that we can and going as far as we can.
Well, those are all great goals to have for this year, Olivia. Again, thanks so much for stopping by today. We really appreciate your time, and good luck this year in all the different sports you'll be playing.
Thank you for having me.